Hey, what's up, everybody? JR here again from Holy Faith Media, here on the Fiat Ministry Network. I wanted to come on today and talk about a few reasons why I do not attend the Novus Ordo Mass, why I say no to the bogus Ordo. Today I slept in and I didn't go to my normal parish, normal Sunday Mass. Woke up, looked at the clock, saw that it was past 10:30, and by that time it was a little bit too late to go to my normal parish here in Canada. So I went over to a parish that I visit often. It's called Our Lady Help of Christians over in Buffalo, New York, in a little town just off to the side of Buffalo called Cheektowaga, actually. But in any case, I got into a conversation with somebody that has followed me for a while on social media. We have a lot of mutual friends here in the Buffalo area. And the conversation that we had, we were talking about different traditionalist parishes and masses and people involved in the traditional movement here in Buffalo. And I got thinking afterwards, why is it that we don't attend the Novus Ordo Mass? And sometimes I call it the bogus Ordo, because that's exactly what it is. I just wanted to review the reasons why I personally stay as far away from the Novus Ordo as I can. And I hope it's going to shed a little bit of insight for you and maybe make you think, and who knows, even perhaps reconsider some positions yourself. The first reason why I do not attend the Novus Ordo Mass is because the faith is not present at 99 out of 100 Novus Ordo parishes that I visit. Now, maybe your experience is somewhat different depending on where you live. Sometimes in the bigger cities, you can get these immigrant parishes with, a highly ethnic mix of, let's say, Polish people or Eastern Europeans, maybe people from the Middle East, which is my experience up here in the Toronto area, where, the Novus Ordo is not in full swing, so to speak. The Francis reform does not look quite the way that it does in most places in North America. But even then, it's deficient. The faith is deficient. It may be better in some of these ethnic parishes, but it's not the same as if you go to a Latin Mass only community, whether it's the SSPX, Fraternity of St. Peter, or maybe even a diocesan parish. At these parishes, this is where you're going to get the unchanging faith, for the most part. Now, there are a few rotten apples in the barrel, for sure, among some of these diocesan Latin Masses, for sure. That's definitely, some of the reports that I've heard from people that follow me here on social media. They talk about how it's watered down sometimes at the diocesan masses, but at least here in this area, this is not my experiences. Most of the diocesan priests that faithfully say the traditional Latin Mass, they communicate the faith faithfully. They hand down what has been handed down to them. At the Novus Ordo, you're just not going to get that. You send your kids to a Novus Ordo Catholic school versus sending them to a school run by the Society of St. Pius X, and they're going to come out with two completely different religions. And that's just, I can't say that's a fact, but it is something that I've found true in almost every case. You look at the faith of children that go to the Society of St. Pius X. Of course, there's some bad kids that come out of that or that lose their faith, no doubt about that. But the faith is communicated very differently. The unchanging Catholic dogmas, the truths of the faith that come down at these Latin Mass communities is very different than the quote, new dogmas that are communicated at these Novus Ordo schools and in the Novus Ordo parishes. You want to test what I'm saying? Well, just go on to any type of forum on the internet. Let's try Catholic Answers or, any of the bigger so-called Novus Ordo forums, and start talking about the traditional faith, start talking about the dogmas, talk about Pope Eugene IV and what he stated in Cantate Domino at the Council of Florence on there being no salvation outside of the Catholic Church, and see what kind of response you get. And I've tested this theory many times. You're going to find that many people, even the ones that you would deem as conservative, are outraged. They're outraged at even the suggestion that the Catholic faith teaches, and the popes themselves, the magisterium of the church, teaches that there's no salvation outside of the church. Now, moving on to number two, the second reason why I do not attend the Novus Ordo Mass is because I don't want to give my money to these corrupt dioceses. So I realized that by giving money to the Fraternity of St. Peter, for example, that indirectly, in a roundabout way, the diocese is also going to get a bit of this cut. But with that being said, I would rather give my money to one of these traditionalist societies that I am pretty confident are handing on the faith, or that have good, morally upstanding, upright priests, and are not going to bring shame upon the faithful, because oftentimes that's what happens is, you find out father at the local parish has been involved in, some kind of a sex orgy ring, and that reflects on us as Catholics. And a lot of times, if you look into it, a lot of these Catholic parishes and dioceses, they are funding things that are completely contrary to the faith. I mean, you look down in the United States at the bishops, how they are pushing for illegal immigration. And oftentimes it's found out that they're actually indirectly funding organizations that support Planned Parenthood and support abortion on demand and things of this nature. There's so many stories that it would be impossible to cover here in one video. And then I move on to the third reason, and that is because we need to be surrounded by like-minded Catholics in order to grow in the faith. Of course, it's not absolutely necessary. I mean, you can be at home with just you and your rosary and grow tremendously in the spiritual life. However, I think where it's possible, it's important to be around other people that share the same faith. And oftentimes in these Novus Ordo parishes, you won't find that. You might find people that attend Sunday Mass every single week, maybe even, the Mass during the weekdays, but they usually don't hold the same faith that you do. They usually hold a very different faith, and it's the Novus Ordo faith, for lack of a better term. Now, I don't deny communion with these people. I don't deny communion with these parishes. I think that there are many good souls in the Novus Ordo that go to Novus Ordo parishes. But with that being said, you won't be able to grow and meet like-minded people that are going to propel you into the spiritual life if you go to a Novus Ordo parish. Usually after the Mass, they just want to talk about football or the latest sporting event or something that's happening in their kids' lives, but normally they're not interested in any kind of conversation about the Catholic faith and how to live out a life of holiness. Now, not always, there are exceptions to that, but generally that is the case, and that's normally what I find. Be interested in hearing some of your experiences down in the comments below. And that's all for now. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe.